Now in this video, we are really going to look at our left hand, okay? This is because we are going to talk a lot about contrary motion. We want to train our hands to use as much contrary motion as possible, because contrary motion prevents a lot of bad voice leading errors from ever happening. The more contrary motion you use in harmony class and in keyboard harmony, the easier your life will turn out to be. As soon as contrary motion goes away, lots of problems occur. So we're going to train our left hand and right hand to move in contrary motion. Remember, there are 4 types of musical motion. There's parallel motion, simple motion, oblique motion, and contrary motion. And contrary motion is the best and it's the strongest in the context of keyboard harmony. I know Debussy likes parallelism, but we're not doing that right now. So, did you notice in the first video when we connected the 1 chord to the 4 chord and the 1 chord to the 5 chord, the roots of those 3 chords exist a perfect 5th or a perfect 4th away from each other on the piano? They're actually really far away, right? So the root of the 1 chord, if I'm in C major, is C. And to get to F, my left hand either had to jump up a 4th or jump down a perfect 5th. I think I did both in that video. Or if you're connecting the 1 chord to the 5 chord, again, the root of the 1 chord and the root of the 5 chord is also a 4th or a 5th away, depending on which direction you travel. Here's the C. You can go up a perfect 5th to the root of the 5 chord, or you could go down a 4th. Both are acceptable, but for the sake of building good habits that will pay off later on, we are going to use contrary motion. We are going to travel the 5ths today. We're going to not use the perfect 4th direction. We're only going to move our left hand in 5ths. That's why this video is called Root Motion of a 5th. So here's what you need to know. When you travel between 2 chords whose root is a perfect 5th away, if you're traveling to a chord where the root is a 5th down, the common tone will be the root of the 1st chord and the other voices will move by step in the opposite direction that your left hand traveled. I'll say it again. If you have 2 chords and the root of both those chords is a perfect 5th away, and you're traveling down, if your left hand travels down a perfect 5th, your right hand will hold the root of the 1st chord and the stepwise motion will occur in the opposite direction that your left hand traveled. When your left hand travels down a perfect 5th to a root position chord, your right hand steps up the voices that are moving. For example, if I play an A major chord, and I want to go to another chord whose root is a perfect 5th down from that A, happens to be D. The root of the 1st chord is the common tone, and the other voices move up by step in contrary motion to the direction my left hand traveled. So these 2 voices are moving in contrary motion to my left hand. And if I happen to come back, it would be the opposite. So my hands are working together in contrary motion to create good voice leading. I know there's a D up here, and I know you could do this, but for the sake of the tower we're building, use contrary motion. That's true for any 2 major chords in root position. If I'm in B major and my left hand travels to a root position chord a perfect 5th underneath, such as E major, the root of the 1st chord is the common tone and the other 2 voices step up. Hands are working in contrary motion. What if I want to travel to a root position chord that's a perfect fifth, whose root is a perfect fifth above the root I'm currently playing. In that case, the opposite will happen. In that case, the fifth of the first chord is the common tone, and the other two voices move down stepwise, in contrary motion to my ascending left hand. For example, if I play an F major chord and I want to go to a root, a perfect fifth up, the fifth of this chord is the common tone, and the voices move towards my left hand as my left hand is ascending. If I play an E flat major chord and I want to go to a root position chord, a perfect fifth up, the fifth of the chord I started on is the common tone, and the other two voices move inwards by step in contrary motion. B flat is the common tone. Nice contrary motion. Now that we do this, we can connect we can go back and forth between the one chord, the four chord, and the one chord, and then the one chord, the five chord, and the one chord really fast like this. So this is in C major. If I want to go 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, how am I doing that? I'm using lots of contrary motion. So here's the one chord. I'm going down a perfect fifth, which means my right hand stepping voices are stepping upwards. My common tone didn't move. And then if I want to go to the G major chord, a perfect fifth up, the note to the C major chord, the fifth is the common tone, steps in, contrary motion, steps back. So 1, 4, contrary motion, back in. Now this is the G is the common tone. I have to move and do a quick maneuver to get my fingers there. And this would be the same as if I was in D major. 1, 4 outwards, inwards, or E major. 1, 4, contrary motion, back. So these two voices are moving outwards away from my left hand. And now these two voices move inwards towards my left hand. You have to do it in every key. So we have to be able to do it in C major, D major, E major, F major, etc., etc. If you're in a minor key, remember to raise the leading tone on the 5 chord. There's the leading tone, D minor. There's the leading tone, E minor. Practice that in every single key. Now on my Classical Context website, for a few dollars, there's 2 pages that have all those examples, so you can read them and keep it on your piano and practice it and transpose it while you're doing your technique before you practice the piano every day. And at the bottom of that worksheet is a descending fifth sequence. Believe it or not, you now know enough hand maneuvers to do descending fifth sequences really, really fast. You may remember struggling with descending fifth sequences in harmony class. There was a lot of chords. It was every diatonic chord actually, and it was a lot of work. But when you actually just play it on the piano using those maneuvers I just taught you, it kind of just unfolds beautifully and it's really easy. So a descending fifth sequence, of course, is 1, 4, 7, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. It's Bach's phone number. 1 to 4. 1 to 4. That's 2 roots separated by a perfect fifth. We know that maneuver. Our left hand is dropping down a perfect fifth, which means the root is the common tone of the first chord, and the other 2 voices will move up by step. That's the first 2 chords. Then if you remember from harmony class, you have to do that exact same thing one step down, that same maneuver. I just place my hands down one note lower. Same exact maneuver. My left hand is dropping a perfect fifth in root position. The stepwise motion is happening in contrary to my left hand, and my thumb is holding a common tone. Here's 1-4, 7-3, 6-2, 5-1. So root motion of a fifth, reset, root motion of a fifth, reset a step down, root motion of a fifth, reset a step down, root motion of a fifth. Same thing in a different version. Common tones up here. Make sure you hold it down so you force your hands to use good voice leading. In a minor key, remember to raise the leading tone. That's the leading tone there. And you have to do it in every key. Leading tone. Now whenever I teach my students this for the first time, everybody makes the same mistake. Remember, in the minor version of the descending fifth sequence, the 2 chord is a diminished triad, and it feels weird in your hand because we don't play diminished triads. We play them so much less than we play major and minor triads. So usually what happens, I'll do this in C minor, is when I teach young students this is what happens. 1, 4, 7, 3, 6, 2, and they forget. They play a D minor triad instead of a D diminished chord. So we've only learned one hand maneuver. Right hand holds a common tone, and the other 2 voices move by step. And your left hand either goes up a perfect fifth or down a perfect fifth, depending on whether you're going to the subdominant or dominant triad. And then we use that to play an entire descending fifth sequence. That's pretty good. We didn't do much work, really, and we got a lot out of that, right? You can just keep playing descending fifth sequences forever. It's a lot of notes, and I'm just doing this one hand maneuver. So much. Common tone stays. Again, this worksheet number 2, is on my Classical Context website. It costs a few dollars, but I'd appreciate it if you paid for it so I don't starve to death. And you have to be able to play a descending fifth sequence in every single key. And then you have my permission to watch the 3rd video, which is going to teach you about root motion of a second, one of the hardest maneuvers we have. It's much harder than what we did now. So go download that worksheet, put it on the piano, do the exercises in every single key. It might take you a month, and then you can watch video 3.